This is section 8.1. We're going to be talking about percent, sales tax, and income tax. Percents are the result of expressing numbers as a part of 100. The word percent literally means per 100. Cent means 100. Expressing a fraction as a percent, you're going to take the top number and divide it by the bottom number, and then you're going to move the decimal places, or decimal 2 places to the right. So let's suppose I have the fraction 5/8 and I want to write it as a percent. To do this, I need to take the top number and divide it by the bottom number. So I need to take 5 and divide it by 8. If I do that, I get 0.625. And then I need to move the decimal 2 places to the right. I end up with 62.5%. If I start with a decimal, I want to write it as a percent, all I have to do is move the decimal 2 places to the right. And I end up, so if I have 0.47, I want to write it as a percent, move it 2 places to the right, and you end up with 47%. If I want to go in the opposite direction, suppose I have 19% and I want to write it as a decimal, just move the decimal place 2 places to the left. So 19% as a decimal is 0.19. Be careful with this 1/4%. 1/4, you know, is 0.25, but that's 0.25%. So if I want to write 1/4% as a decimal, I got to move the decimal 2 places, but remember I'm already starting out with a decimal, so 2 places to the left, 0.0025. All right, so a lot of times when you have percents, it's a percent of something. Typically means multiply. So you take the percent and you multiply it times the base. One example of where you would use this is for sales tax. Sales tax amount is the tax rate, or the percent, times the item's cost. Suppose you have a tax rate of 7.5%. You purchase a bicycle. The sticker price is $394. Want to figure out how much tax you pay. So you take the percent, change it to a decimal. So you have 0.075. Remember, you got to move 2 places, not 1. And you multiply times the sticker price, or the cost of the bicycle, and 0.075 times $394. Offhand, I don't know what that is. We'll get that in a second. So that would be the amount of tax. So that gives us $29.55. $29.55. And to find out the total cost, you're going to take the $394, the sticker price for the bike, and add the $29.55. Add your taxes. And you end up with a total cost of $423.50. and 55 cents. When you have a discount, you do exactly the same thing, only instead of adding the sales tax, you subtract off the discount. So an example, computer is 1,460 and a sale is 15% off. So you'd multiply the 15%, which is 0.15, times the 1460. And I don't remember what that number is. Give me a second. It is 219. So the actual amount of the discount is $219. So we're going to take the original cost of the computer and subtract off the discount of $219, and what we actually pay then is $1,241. All right, calculating your income tax. First thing you have to do is find your adjusted gross income, which means take your gross and subtract off the adjustments. You would have adjustments if you make contributions to like a 401k. So if you have a savings plan through your employer for retirement, that would be an adjustment. Determine your taxable income. So that means you take your adjusted gross, what you just found up here, subtract off exemptions. That's the same amount for each person, for yourself and for all of your dependents. So if you have any kids, you would get $3,200 for each one of those that you would subtract off your adjusted gross, as well as deductions. When you hear people talk about itemizing deductions, or they get a income tax, if their income taxes are reduced because of like interest they pay on their home mortgage, or things of that nature, that's what we call a deduction. Now you can either take the standard deduction, which is a set amount, or you can do what we call itemizing. Just depends on whichever's larger deduction. To figure the income tax, you would look the tax computation. You would look that up in a table, tax computation. That's where you would look it up in a table, and you subtract off any tax credits. Sometimes tax credits, if you pay for child care, uh, teachers get tax credits if they pay things for their classroom. So just different kinds of tax credits you can have. Okay, I am going to stop here for the end of part 1.